Okay, so 2001 was when Halo premiered with the first-gen Xbox, and now over 2 decades later, we have 8 main canon video games, 12 other spin-offs and adaptations, 2 feature-length films, and a brand new TV series. Yeah, let's give it up. So we all know this awesome video game has become a global phenomenon, as well as the original voices that voiced its 2 main protagonists. So help me welcome the actors behind the voices we've all come to know over the years. The voice of Master Chief, Steve Downes, and the voice of Cortana, Jen Taylor.
I love you.
I love you too.
We both love
But I don't know you.
We love you all. Well, you just take a little time, Steve.
There we go. All the time you need, no rush.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
So you guys enjoying the con so far?
Yeah.
Loving the con life? It's hot out there,
Did you
probably.
say loving the con life?
Loving the con life.
Loving the con life.
It's a type of life.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just hop right into it. So you guys, we're gonna do about 30 or 20, I'll see, whatever. How many questions with me up here, and then we're gonna open the floor for Q&A. So Q&A is gonna be 1 question each person until time goes out, and then we'll have a runner to help y'all out and get to the microphone. Cool? All right, let's get right into it. So when you Google Steve Downes, it doesn't pop up with, voice actor of America, blah, 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 blah. It says American DJ.
Yes, it does.
And you have a very extensive, over 40 years career on radio. And Jen, you also have experience doing radio when you were in Seattle, Washington on KND&D. So,
The fact that you know that is amazing.
oh, I do my research. Trust me,
love that,
I've had
yeah.
no sleep for the past 4 days.
Oh, okay.
So,
There you go.
so what was both of y'all's, journey moving from radio personalities to voice acting, and did that experience help you in any way?
It was, in some ways, it seems like a natural progression to go from, I was a disc jockey. That was my day job for 40-some years. And an outgrowth of that was voiceover, although, as I often say, the two met and then also didn't meet. And even though it seems like it's kind of the same type of thing, it does require sort of a different muscle to use, I suppose. But
Technically, you use different skills being a radio DJ as opposed to working.
Yeah.
You use the mic differently.
yeah, it's technically and in your head, it's just sort of a different kind of deal. But what got me into voiceover was really the production end of radio. I sort of enjoyed, putting together commercials or shows and that kind of thing, and I liked that part of it. And when I would be done, if it needed a voice, it's like, well, I guess I'm it. So I would voice my own stuff. But that's what kind of how I got involved with it. And then when I moved to LA, that's sort of the voiceover capital of the world, and so I really got serious about it then, and it became my love. I love doing it, and I love it to this day. Not just Halo, but every time there's a new project, it's always fun.
When you sell a Jeep.
Yeah.
He's got to do lots of car commercials, right?
In a world.
Yeah, right. Right.
Nice. So, Steve, there's a small documentary from 2008. It's on YouTube. I urge everyone to go watch it. And you talk about and open up about your past with Chief and like how you came into the character and like behind the scenes footage. And you said something along the lines of, I know how to do the radio thing. I know what people expect, but with Master Chief, so.
Is that what you said?
Words to that effect, yeah. Right.
There was like, he was like cutting off. He was like, so I don't know. It was cute. But so now that it's been, 20 years with the character, do you finally feel like you've mastered Chief, or, I know pun intended, and like you finally truly like understand that character, or are you always discovering new things about him?
I don't think you ever really truly feel like you master a character. I think the part of the fun of doing it is that there's something new to uncover all the time. And so no, I don't think I've mastered him. I think he, I love it when we get to do it again. It's just fun. But I always feel like there's a side of him that can invite further exploration. So it's not a mastery, and I think it's actually a danger as an actor to do that, because then you just start to be repetitive, and you're not really, it's not about how deep or high your voice may be. It's about, what's in here, what's coming from the heart. So that's always an adventure every time we get to sort of jump into it.
That's awesome. So, Jen, you've done a lot of voice work since before Cortana. Like, you were most notably in the Nintendo Mario franchise with Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Toad. You were even on an uncredited version of my very first Super Mario game, Super Mario Adventures, for the Game Boy Advance. And I was wondering, like, you voiced all these super well-known characters that have a history. So what is the difference between that and voicing a character that you're just bringing out to life with Cortana?
That's an interesting question. With Mario Brothers, I was, the reason that I believe I got cast and what they had asked us to do in my initial audition was to imitate the woman who did it before me. And I'm good at imitating. If you give me something to study, I can imitate it, right? So I walked in and was like, oh, okay, I think I can figure this out. And I think that's why I got the character. Learning the history of the character was a little different. And also, unlike Cortana, Peach, I'm not exploring the depths of Peach's character for the most part. I'm just running. I'm running or trying to get away from bowels. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
What makes Peach tick?
What does make Peach tick? So that's slightly different. And even in the beginning of Halo, I feel like I learn more about Cortana every time I get to do a game. Every time I get to explore her, I learn something else about her. And of course, I bring part of myself to it. I can't help that. I am me, and I am trapped in this body for now. So there's a part of me in it, but every time I do it, I learn more about her, whereas with Peach and Toad and things that have already been established, especially something light like that, it's a little harder to plumb those depths. I still felt ownership of Peach, though. I mean, for the games that I did, I just adore that character, and I felt happy to be a part of creating her. And Toad. So that's not different. It's a little less scary, I guess, when you have a new character as opposed to a character that's been established, because you feel like, oh gosh, I have to live up to what this other woman or this other man was doing, and that can be intimidating. But that's I think, maybe the
Did
difference.
you once play a baseball?
I played a baseball glove.
You played a baseball. So what was your motivation there?
Yes. Very good question.
Awesome.
To catch.
There you go.
Actually, I did a reading comprehension. Somebody came up to me. I did a reading comprehension video for kids back in the day, and it was a computer game, and he recognized my voice. When he started to play Halo, he's like, did you do a reading comprehension game? Because I played it when I was in fourth grade, and I was like, yes, how did you? I think I was a fish or something. Anyway.
So Cortana and Chief have had this entire story arc with their different trials of friendship, trust throughout all the games. And I just wanted to know how you guys developed that character's relationship with each other, and in which game do you find it the most dynamic?
I mean, we didn't meet until 10 years in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until after Halo 3 that we met. It was at an anniversary gathering, and we were at
It was
Emerald City Comic-Con.
Emerald City Comic-Con.
And so I have to say that over the way that we established the relationship for those first few games was in editing, giving as many options as possible, and then really good editors.
Yeah, great actors.
honestly,
Yeah.
because we didn't meet.
Yeah.
I would say the only game that we actually got to work on together was Halo 4.
Yeah.
And we got to be in the same room together. And of course, we had some really intense emotional scenes that we got to do. And so that is the one that we connect the most together over. And we haven't worked together since, sadly.
I sort of count when you and Bruce Thomas. Bruce is the embodiment.
He
of Master
mocaps
Chief.
Chief.
He's the performance. He's the body. He's Master Chief. He's everything but the voice.
You would know him from a lot of things. If you look up Bruce, he does a lot. He voices a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, great guy,
Yeah,
and
he's
a really good
really
talent.
good actor.
And
He was the FedEx guy in
That's right.
in the Reese Witherspoon movie where she goes to grad.
Bend and snap?
Yes.
Yes? Oh, wow.
Oh my!
The bend and snap thing?
Oh, he's the UPS guy?
Legally Blonde. He's the FedEx guy in Legally Blonde. He
crazy.
is the embodiment of Chief.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
Master
yeah.
Chief. But anyway, what was? So during pre-pandemic, when I could still travel to Seattle, where Jen lives, and where Microsoft is, and where most of our work.
That's where we did Infinite.
Where most of the Halo work was done. So we the performance capture studio was in the same building studio as the voiceover stuff. So I got to sit in and watch Bruce and Jen act out a scene that I was later going to voice, and it was a tremendous help to actually. It's one thing to see sort of a cartoon rendering of what the scene is. A whole other thing to watch them actually do it. And so it was sort of, it wasn't like Halo 4, but at least it was, it was kind of like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Jen, you're the voice of Cortana in the new Paramount Halo TV series. And I just want to know, was there a different side to Cortana that you got to create and explore? And which Cortana do you like voicing more?
Oh, I can't choose my babies. It was the same. I was doing performance capture I did performance capture for the series as well, and I actually go back to Budapest soon for season 2. She clearly has different motivations, a different reason for being there. I don't know that I have a preference. It's just a different sort of side of Cortana, a different way of approaching the same character, and she's on a very different journey, clearly, and in a different place in her arc of being a character. So that was interesting to feel like I sort of went back and sideways, if that makes sense. But I don't have a preference.
You should. They're all great.
Yeah.
They're all great.
They're my babies.
Okay, I did a lot of deep questions. Let's do some fun ones. So has there ever been a game, a TV show, movie, animation where you saw a character and you're like, yeah, I need to do that. I want to do something just like that. Something just like that.
So many things. I don't even know where to begin. One of my very favorite movies is The Princess Bride. I
Yes,
just love that movie
yes.
so much, and I would love to be in something like that. I mean, I like over-the-top silly things. Another one of my favorite TV shows right now, we were just talking about this, is Ghosts. I love that show so much. It makes me so happy. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. The British version of Ghosts makes me so happy. It's character-driven. It's an ensemble. That's the kind of stuff that I love to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this whole thing for me feels like the fulfillment of a childhood fantasy anyway.
You can't ask for anything more.
I could not ask for anything. But when I was a kid, and I don't think this is unusual. You would put yourself in. I remember a movie. So this sort of. I was a pretty young whippersnapper when The Magnificent Seven came out, but it was. I remember it was like 1960, maybe something like that, and before probably everybody in this room was even born, and anyway, it was just it's a classic Western, and
You want to be in a Western.
yeah, I wanted to be a cowboy. You know,
Yeah.
who
You are
As
one.
you
You're a
should,
space
yeah.
cowboy.
and I'm a space cowboy. Bet you don't know where it's at. Oh,
You know what? I lied.
I digress.
I want to be Captain Marvel, too. That's what I
Yes.
oh yeah.
She's awesome. So Halo has a unique history of naming their ships, like Forward Unto Dawn, Spirit of Fire, UNSC Bad Moon Rising. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
So if given the choice to name a ship, what would you name it and why?
Wow.
Oh my God.
So deep, right?
We should have something. We should have this in the back of our minds.
We really
at
should.
all times.
But nobody's ever asked this question.
no, that's a big.
4 days, no sleep, guys. Yeah. 4 days.
Might be something stupid like in your face or something dumb like
That'd be
that.
funny.
I don't know. You guys got any ideas?
Yeah, that'd be more interesting.
What?
Oh,
Say what?
Morbius.
More. Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a
I
great
think
one.
that's taken though.
People like that.
Yeah.
Put that on a shirt.
Getting fist bumps over there.
Boom.
Anybody else?
Dominoes? Is that what you said? Cortana toes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
No, yeah. Backward unto dust.
Backward. Okay.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
say go with it.
Yeah.
I
See,
like
we
it.
should've- Yeah, what's yours?
Wow.
That's it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Unnatural
yeah.
cave.
That's
The USS Unnatural Cave Format.
You win.
All right.
And we're going to carry that around and steal it and use it now if ever anybody asks
That's
us
right.
that again.
Yes. Thank
All
you
right.
for that.
We'll give you credit.
So the Halo soundtrack, we all know it. I know that score specifically because even my high school orchestra played that.
Really?
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
I performed that at a concert and back in my high school. I'm not even kidding. I can literally sing you the notes. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you heard it for the first time, like, how did that feel, like, with knowing like your characters and like, did you get it stuck in your head every now and then, like all of us did?
It is very anthemic, right? And it is awe-inspiring and soul rumbling. So yeah, yes.
And credit to Marty O'Donnell.
Marty O'Donnell.
Who is the one who wrote it and I think performed some of it, but he's
The London Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
why not?
That was only that.
Yeah.
Only the London Symphony Orchestra.
Whatever.
Only the
But yeah,
greatest.
I mean, it's as iconic and as responsible for, I mean, it's every bit as has to do with why Halo is Halo in terms of the big picture as almost anything else is that musical score that he put together. And there's been some great music scores, at post Bungie, but none, captures it the way he
It's
did.
so interesting because it makes you feel a part of the world instantly, doesn't it? I mean, for me too, when I hear it, I just feel like, oh gosh,
Here we
it's
go.
It's a world that I'm a part of, and not just me, everybody.
Yeah.
It just feels really
Yeah.
comforting and exciting and thrilling. So yeah.
Yeah. That battle music still gives me PTSD though, because I think a hunter is coming
Uh-oh.
every time. Oh my goodness. So I like asking voice actors to do acting challenges because I think it's funny.
Uh-oh.
So in any voice or as many as you want, your line to say is, "If you're testing my water, you better know how to swim."
Oh, so we have to do a whole bunch of different voices. Okay, I feel like I'm doing an audition. I'm going to do, this is my chief. If you're testing, I can't even do it. If you're testing my waters. What's the rest of it?
You better know how to swim.
You better know how to swim. That's not chief, is it? It's really-
All right. That cave isn't a natural formation.
That's not the line.
But if you're testing my waters, you better know. That actually sounds like something Cortana would actually say,
Yeah, that's what I picked.
right? I could just, yeah.
Why does
Hey,
Cortana
Chief.
talk like this in your world? She's very airy. I don't know what's happening.
A little airy and breathy, yes.
Chief, run.
Yes.
That's so silly.
Okay, so final question before we open the floor. So I read an interview that Steve did a couple years back where he talked about how he didn't really know how big this game is going to be. And he saw his friend playing it, and he was like, I think I voiced somebody in that. And he was like, who did you voice? Like, Master Chief. And then literally 20 minutes later, there was a bunch of kids coming outside with their copies of the first Halo, like, can I have your autographs? So what was y'all's moments when y'all really realized, I'm a part of something that's going to be huge?
Well, at that moment was literally, I've said it just earlier, it was an aha moment, because I literally had no idea. I couldn't even remember the name of the character. When I walked through the living room and these kids were playing the game, something jarred my memory, and I just like,
I think I'm in that.
I think and it would have been a year or so, and they said, well, who were you? And I said, I don't remember, but I think he was the main guy in the game. And they said Master Chief, and it was like, yeah. And then that happened. So it just became like this snowball that started to roll. And, sooner or later you realize, wow, this thing is huge. Because I wasn't and am not a game player. I don't, people say, do you play Halo? And I say, I suck at Halo. So,
It's okay, so does my father.
I redefined the term sucking at Halo. But, so I wasn't in the world. And, at that time, I mean, video games now have permeated every part of society. But back in the early 2000s, it was still, I don't know if you want to call it cultish, but it was a closed environment, more or less. And if you weren't in that environment, you didn't know anything about it. I remember, shortly thereafter, I was out to dinner with my sister and brother-in-law, and they were just kind of fascinated by this. You do what? And for what? And I said, yeah, well, to a certain audience, it's a big deal. So my brother-in-law, for the rest of the night, would ask every waiter, the the valet, all these people who he thought would be of the right age. And as fate would have it, none of them knew anything about. So he's like, yeah, this is Master Chief. And I'm like,
Whatever.
yeah. Where's his car? I don't know. He's a lousy tipper.
Would you like steak, sir?
Yeah. So it was sort of this gradual snowball that became, what it is today. So
I don't think actors ever think that what they're doing is going to be big. I think you always assume you're going to, will I ever get a job again? I mean, I think is always the way, I didn't know that Halo was a success until they called me and said, would you do Halo 2? And I thought, I guess Halo did okay.
yeah.
We're doing another one.
do another one.
Yeah, that's cool. And then I went to a convention, it was E3. I think I went to E3 back in the very
Nice.
beginning, and there were I just remember a lot of people being in the room, and I thought, okay, people really like this.
Yeah.
So it was also gradual for me as well, and I don't know that that's a truth that ever sinks into anybody's psyche, really. I mean, it hasn't sunk into mine, so at least.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, as a voice actor or any kind of actor for that matter, you're always looking for the next job. I remember an actor friend of mine says, every day, no matter what you did yesterday, the next day you wake up fired. Because
Fired?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
that job is now done, and now you have no job. So you're always constantly, trying to look for the next thing, and that's really where, any actor's, focus would be. And then you get lucky enough to get attached to something like this, and it's a game changer, to say the least.
That's awesome. So raise your hand if Halo has impacted your life, made it better, got you through something.
We're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, me too. Helped my relationship with my uncle specifically. So let's
Me too.
line up behind my runner right there. She looks amazing. If you have a question, please keep it to one question, and we'll try to get through as many as we can.
That was really moving. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm surprised I'm even awake right now.
What'd you say?
I'm surprised I'm even awake right now.
Step right up there.
Hi.
So my main question is, like, since you guys were part of the pioneer game of Xbox, like, did you work with any of the higher ups of Microsoft, Xbox, and like with Bill Gates himself, since it was a big deal to him, how Xbox was pushing the boundaries of what Microsoft was at the time?
Are you asking if we ever met Bill Gates?
Yeah, or like
No.
worked with any, or like
My only interaction with Bill.
I did.
Did you meet Bill Gates?
I met Bill Gates.
Okay. there you
Was that your? But
She's the obvious winner.
Bill Gates came up to me and he said, "So, were you in Wicked on Broadway?"
He thought you were Glinda?
I have no idea. I was like, "No, I play
You want me to
Cortana
be?
in Halo." Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
My only
yeah.
interaction,
Yeah.
the only interaction I ever had involving
was very
Bill,
nice
Bill
before that.
Gates was when Windows 95 came out. They had a big coming out, party for the new iteration of Windows, and that
Windows 95.
Windows 95.
Whoa. We're going way back here.
Oh yeah. So this was right after the discovery of electricity, and so they were having a big presentation for it, and I was the narrator of the.
Oh.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, on door number 5, whatever.
Who knew?
Yeah, and Gates hated it.
It's like, fire that guy.
Yeah, I think he did fire me.
He should never work again.
That's right. I recorded the whole thing. I don't think they ever used any of it. So,
Wow.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Look who's laughing now, though.
I think Bill is still laughing.
Still.
Yeah.
All right. My question is, if Master Chief and Cortana were here at MomoCon, how do you think they would react to being here?
How would they react?
If they were at MomoCon,
I think they would just be overwhelmed.
yeah.
Yeah. That's just, I can't put them here.
What do you think they would say?
I'm waiting.
Yeah, you got me on. I'm drawing a blank. You guys asked too good of questions.
You've stumped us again.
I'm the voice actor.
Yeah, no, I think they would be very confused as to what they were doing here and how they could serve.
I think they would be.
Maybe they'd be serving pretzels.
Hey, there's an idea.
Taking out the garbage, putting more soap in there's no soap in the bathroom. We need more soap in the women's restrooms.
I think I can speak. I think I can speak.
They'd
for
be
Master
serving.
Chief. He'd be eating pretzels.
Yeah, he'd be
I
eating
know
pretzels.
that for sure.
Well, this Master Chief is eating pretzels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
But,
maybe enjoying some merch. I don't know.
I think so.
Cortana likes sparkly things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they would be amazed at the impact that they have had on the community.
nice,
And
Steve.
I think they would be astounded at the depth of what this game has done. That's what I think.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Chief. Hey, Cortana.
Hi.
I have a question about the TV show. And with as much lore there is behind the games and the books and the movies that have already existed, do you all agree with the current state of the series, the way it's telling its story? And if you do, that's great. If you don't, what would you like to see change in the fall of the season?
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing more of Chief and Cortana's relationship growing and them figuring each other out. Is exciting to me, so that's what I would enjoy seeing more of in the show.
Yeah, I can only comment as a viewer, and I enjoy watching it, and I think it's sort of it has a little bit of the original canon, and then if there's a whole new deal. And I think anybody, especially gamers, Halo fans, going into it have to, first of all, have an open mind, as you would about anything else, and view it as, sort of let it wash over you and say, does this entertain me? And that's really the end of the day. It's not about whether it stays true to the lore necessarily. It's, does it entertain me? Am I enjoying the story? Do I care about these people or creatures or whatever? And that's the way I look at it, and it entertains me, which I think is the point.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you. Hi.
Howdy. So first off, thank you for having such a massive impact on everyone here, including myself, with being part of this awesome series. And my question is, because you guys have had such you guys are more or less the path makers with this franchise. When it comes to fan-created content, such as other spin-off shows, such as Red vs. Blue, or even some of just the simple basement machinima that people make, do you ever watch that stuff? Does it kind of make you feel humbled, or what's your perspective on that kind of thing?
This whole experience has humbled me in a great way to see how much power it has, and with my tiny little connection to it, because there's so many people who work on this. And as you say, fans who create out of this is a remarkable thing. And yeah, I've watched Red vs. Blue. Who hasn't? Is there anybody who hasn't?
Everyone's happy.
No, yeah.
Blue. Blue.
Okay, red. I'll go red.
Gosh.
It's hard for me to choose. And it is remarkable to see the growth that's come out of it. So yes, it is humbling. And yeah, I watch some of it sometimes just to see what is exciting to people.
I'm amazed at some of the
And
fan
so
stuff.
am I.
I'm just, the production quality astounds me on some of the stuff that I've seen made by just average folks like yourself, and it's really incredible, what you can do with a laptop these days.
Thank you.
But stop with the teabagging, everybody. Stop with it. Stop with it. Stop already.
So if you guys had the Spartan armor, how many grunts do you guys think you could take out before they got you?
If we had what?
If you guys had the Spartan armor, how many grunts do you think you could take out before they got you?
You mean me, Jen Taylor?
Yeah.
0. 0. I'd be dead in a second. So sad. Meh.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand
Steve
you.
doesn't have a comeback.
Yeah.
Oh, grunts.
I-
How many grunts can you take out?
Oh.
Or how many?
How many you got?
Oh, yeah!
Nice.
Oh,
That's an
yeah!
answer.
Boom!
Boom.
Do you guys have a specific favorite line from y'all's character from the entire franchise?
Mm-hmm. Do we have a favorite line? Welcome home, John. Oh.
She said that to me once about being a machine. My favorite line.
Nice.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you for both coming to Atlanta. So my question is, Halo 4 was more emotional, focused on the dynamic between Chief and Cortana. So when you guys were reading the script, how did you guys kind of take that, the whole dynamic between them and how they had to emotionally separate at the end? I mean, spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Halo 4, obviously.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
8 years later.
What's interesting is that so often when you're recording a game, you don't get the whole story. You're not told. You're given your lines
Yeah.
for in each moment, and you don't know what the interaction is. I feel like that was the case for most of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, since we're doing motion capture, and you often you get the script, right, so that you know what you're doing and where you're going, but most of the time you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But Halo 4 was definitely I remember we did get the script for
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
And I remember thinking, no, she's dead. And, not for like, oh no, I don't have a job anymore, but more of like, oh no, I don't get to play with this character anymore. It was heartbreaking. And am I answering your question?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
just in general, like how you guys reacted to the story of Halo 4. I mean, for
But
most
it was
of us,
also fun to do.
yeah,
I mean,
right. It was very emotional, you know.
actors like to stretch and be crazy and be weird, and so
Yeah.
it was really fun for me to do because I got to, especially when the rampancy. Oh, sorry, spoiler. Started happening. That was really fun to explore
Oh my
that.
God, yeah. Tell them the story about the direction you got when.
Oh well, I got lots of different. There are. Those scenes are very layered, and they would have me do it a million different ways. Like, okay, have Cortana read this line. Great, Cortana's read this line. Now we want baby Cortana. Okay. Now we want wizard Cortana. Now farmer Cortana. Now, and then then like Cortana who is enraged, Cortana who is weeping over the loss of, and then they layered it all together. So what you hear is a mix of a gazillion different line readings, basically. And that was super fun to do, like.
I think for me, as Jen mentioned, it's the first time we got to actually work together in the same studio at the same time doing that stuff. And that was a real thrill for me. But it was also a big challenge because, we were going to take, my character and Cortana for that matter, but from my point of view, in a place that he had never been. And it was trying to find that balance between, the genuine emotion that he was feeling with the loss of the only entity that really meant anything to him in his entire life, and how he was trying to deal with that, and being a person who had no idea how to,
Quotes.
I don't know, because he's,
Okay, yeah, keep on, sorry.
Okay. He's not really good at expressing emotion. That was the challenge as I saw it. So anyway, we get to a scene. It was the very end, and I told Jen, and you remember it wasn't like we knew each other the way we know each other now. So I said to her before we went in to record that part, that Jen, I said I may reach for your hand, during that scene to help me stay in the place I want to be at emotionally. And Jen says, okay, fine, that's fine. So now I'm all like, in my head on this thing, and we get to that point, and Jen extends her hand, for me to take, and I don't take her hand. I'm so wrapped up in it, I don't even see her, and she's like, wow, dude, left me hanging, because I was just so, at that point, I went the other way that I thought I was going to go. But that was the, that was some of the, fun and interesting challenges that those sessions were.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And lots of crying. There was lots of crying.
There was lots of crying.
Yeah.
Hey, hi Chief, hi Cortana.
Hi.
My one question is, if you could switch universes as you two characters and take over for anybody else, why? Who and why?
If we could, I'm not sure I am.
If we could go into any other universe, I'd want to be in the Marvel universe.
Oh.
Epic.
Yeah, right. I feel like that's an easy one. I feel like that's a softball.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to think about that. The first thing that comes to mind is Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Do we like the new Batman?
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's.
I really like it.
Yeah, I
and
hear it's
and I think that's an interesting, and actually you could draw, a few parallels sort of between him and Master Chief, in certain ways. But yeah, I think that would be a fun universe to jump into.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Sure.
Thank you.
You mentioned the editors earlier that put your stuff together. Who are those unnamed people, and have you ever done any panels with them or interacted with them since?
No. Who are the editors? They're different for every single game, and we generally don't get to meet them. I mean, I think that as far as our work goes, maybe in the beginning, Marty and Joe probably chose a lot of the stuff, deciding which game. But they also have to leave it open, because oftentimes when you're doing a scene and you're doing just voiceover mainly, but also mocap, they'll work on a scene and you're delivering it a certain way, and then they'll come back to you a week later, call you back in and go, actually, this is now a super heightened moment, and we need to do this scene differently because you're being attacked. It's the same scene, but you're being attacked right now. So you have to give them as many options as possible so that they can pick and choose. But yeah, probably, I mean, I'm guessing Marty and Joe chose a lot of what we did in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
But
But,
no,
yeah, I had
that's
no
not,
idea.
we don't get to, no, we don't, you know. But whenever you're recording stuff, the director is always going, okay, give me 3 options. Great, B. Next?
Yeah.
Great, I'll take A on that one. Next? Great, C. So they are choosing as you go. Who actually edits it and puts it in the game? I don't know that I've ever
Yeah, I don't know who makes
that.
the final
Yeah,
call.
we don't get,
That's a
there's
good-
so
that's a
many
good-
people working on this project.
Yeah.
This is such a huge world, and we're just the tiny little stem on top of the cherry.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, like, this is a massive project and a massive world, and we just get to be honored to meet all of you guys. I wish everybody could see what an impact it has on people, because it is pretty intense. and
We just
lovely.
get to take all the credit.
We get to take the credit.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if you could do like the soup store bit on YouTube.
If we could do the what bit
as your
on?
characters? If you could do like the soup store thing. You don't know it?
I don't know it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Oh no! Oh no!
Hey, shirt twin.
Hey, first off, it's an honor to have you guys here.
Hi.
Thank you.
My question is, out of all the Halo games that you guys have done, which one is your favorite, and how has it impacted your lives?
Which Halo game?
Yeah,
is-
like which one have you done that you like that stood out to you that said, "Man, I really like this." Like, how did it like impact your lives?
Well, we talked about 4, and you know that the storyline of 4 was exciting, and the actual work process that we got to do together will always be a favorite memory of mine. But personally, in terms of you know being happy, you know with how it all turned out from my point of view, Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
It's the first time in any Halo game I've ever done where when I watched the finished product that I didn't think, oh, I could have done that better, I should have done that, that was the wrong choice, you know, this, that, and the other. The Halo Infinite, I watched it all the way through and I thought, that was pretty good. I mean, you know, and I all sort of modesty aside, I just thought that was my best work. I did the best that I could with that. And you either liked it or you didn't like it, but how one feels about their work that is not necessarily
An
how
indication
you feel
of,
about
yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that we don't value your opinion
Yeah.
or a critic's opinion, but at the end of the day, you got to please yourself. And that was the first time that I watched it and went, okay, that was my best work. So
I don't know, I feel like at the end of the day, you have to please the director. You know, you're trying to give the director what they want. And it might not be how you see the character going or what you think is right in the moment, but it's about a story, oftentimes it's about a storytelling process that is beyond you, that you don't see, right? You can't see the whole picture. But I really enjoyed doing Infinite as well because I also got to play 3 different characters closely tied together, but that was a great, fun challenge for me to do. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Ripley.
Thank you. You're like the first person today that's actually gotten it.
What?
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. I don't know.
We're all gonna die, man.
Game over, man.
First
I
of
don't
all,
know if you've been keeping up with current events, but we're about to get our ass kicked. My favorite.
I never knew how much I needed that until right now. Thank you. And also, thank you so much for your impact. I've been playing these games for years. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. My question is, between the very first game and then obviously all the way up to Infinite, the themes and stories like grow and, dare I say, evolve throughout. And both Cortana and Chief have an interesting journey of, and you kind of touched on it earlier, person to machine versus machine growing into a sort of humanity. I wanted to know what that was like as, two actors and who's are kind of going like parallel but like opposite and converging ways in that sense. And like the line you said about like being a machine.
Yeah.
I wonder what that was like as far as like, the massive like long tenuous journeys between both of the characters throughout all of their journeys throughout the entire games.
That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
I don't think I really became aware of that until 4, right? When we were forced to really deal with it. When it's, 4 years later or something? We jump 4 years. Before that, it was more about learning how to cooperate with this person and be in this space with this person for Cortana. And then in 4, it was suddenly became very clear to me how dear that journey was, which I didn't realize, if that makes sense. And I imagine that happens, that happens to people all of the time. Like, you don't realize what an amazing experience you're having until it's over, or until you're forced to look at it and examine it and go, oh, that was something.
Yeah.
And so it was almost a surprise for me as a character. I stumbled into it, which felt very human to me, actually, to stumble into this realization. It wasn't something playing the character was thinking about very much until it happened, which I guess is how we live our lives, right, in the moment. So.
Yeah, I really can't add anything to that. It's really a very it is about two characters. Both discovering their humanity in very different ways, and one who was not human at all, and one who was severely augmented. But the story of Halo 4 is one of relationships and how precious your own humanity is. And like Jen said, sometimes you don't even realize it until it's either threatened or taken away from you. So.
Well, the whole series is about them discovering their humanity through each other.
Yeah.
So you put so much of that on your partner, right? Anyway.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have time for about 3 more questions.
Hello.
Hi.
Now, my question is, with, like you guys said, with all the games, TV shows, animation, and the books,
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, with the books, did y'all read any of those or use those to help with your characters evolving? Like, figure out where they're going to go?
I know for me, Fall of Reach was extremely informative.
Me too.
Fall of Reach was like, oh, that's why okay. And I feel that way most of the time when I read the books. That's why I said that thing. Because we're often not given that information. So
especially in the early days.
Especially in the early days.
Yeah.
So the books are so helpful and fun to do a deep dive, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Fall of Reach absolutely was the one that was, again, an aha moment. That was the one where I learned, why he was, who he was, what was the root of all of that. And that was incredibly informative, going into recording, future games.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you. Hi.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Mine's less of a question and more of just, you talked about kind of the impact that the games have had on people's lives. And I just wanted to speak from, my perspective. When I was a kid and I played Halo 2, I grew up in a small town and, everyone believes the same thing for the most part. I'd argue that most of my town was Christian. And honestly, this isn't as reflective of the chief as it might be of the arbiter, but how important a story like that is to people who are figuring out who they are when they're growing up and learning how to really come to terms with what they believe and that journey. And, that really spoke to me as a child, and I think to a lot of people, and I think that's something special, and I just wanted to tell you guys thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was always that was always a when we first started doing these things at conventions and stuff, and I would encounter people all the time to which the game was just such an impactful thing, and it took me a long time to understand that.
Yeah.
And the only way to really understand it for me was to say, well, what did I have in my youth?
Yeah.
Growing up that had that kind of effect on me to your core.
Yeah.
And for me, it was music. It was rock and roll. It was when that's the thing that made me see the world completely differently and affected every single thing about my life from that. The day the Beatles came on Ed Sullivan was the day my life changed in every single way, and continued to. And I would look to that for inspiration and understanding relationships and just everything.
Yep.
And that may help me to understand the impact of Halo on people on this sort of visceral level.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I guess it's kind of funny that the Halo theme was inspired by yesterday to a certain degree. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. On some of the interviews, Marty talks about it. The theoretical structure of it was put together just like yesterday.
Interesting.
So, kind of funny, right?
Well, it's funny because he's a big Beatles fan, isn't it?
Yeah.
No
Of
big
course.
deal. And
Every
worked with
time
Paul-
you talk to him, he'll say, "Did I tell you when I met Paul McCartney?" Yes, Marty, you did.
Well, the funny thing was when Jen talks about the 10th anniversary where we met, Marty was there, and I remember we all went out to dinner, and that's just about the time he was going to do the Paul McCartney sessions
Yeah.
for Destiny, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was for?
No.
Right?
He was doing it for another project, I think, outside of Destiny, wasn't he? Don't ask me.
I don't- okay.
clearly don't know.
Don't at me.
Yeah, but anyway, and he was so jazzed
Giddy,
about
yeah,
it.
it was.
Oh, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I would be too.
He's not only meeting Paul McCartney, he's working with Paul.
Crazy.
Yeah, Paul, that was a good take. Listen, you need to change that one thing, though, a little bit. Can you go up a little bit on that, Paul? You're a beauty. Love you, guy.
And this is going to be
my
our
Marty
last question.
Hello. Working and doing things over the past year or two has been a struggle for just about everybody, dealing with the pandemic, having to work with other things, and not being able to see people physically. As a student and working towards graduation now, it's been a challenge having to work online half the time. We're finally moving back in. And my question was, what were the workarounds for people that wanted to work in voice acting, or what did you guys have to do during the massive spree of quarantine?
Luckily, I have a studio in my basement, and it's a high-tech studio, so I was able to continue working. And what's so fascinating is that is how people are continuing to work doing voiceovers.
Right.
Very rarely anymore do you have to go into a studio, because why? So that also, I was in Budapest in 2020 working on the series. Everything was shut down. I couldn't really go anywhere. I could walk. I could take walks. That was what I did when I wasn't on set. But everything, it was completely locked down. The set was totally different from any set I've ever been on. Anytime we weren't on set actually working, we were taken back to our trailers. We ate our food by ourselves in our trailers. We couldn't hang out together outside of the show. We were asked not to go anywhere inside while we were shooting in Budapest. So I hardly got to see Budapest. It'll be interesting to go back again. So and nobody, somehow, none of the actors caught COVID. when we were shooting. So we didn't have to shut down, which was amazing. So there's also, I mean, so that's a big workaround. We were able to continue to work
Yeah, I had
safely. The
a,
union, that's the union, the actors union has done that. They have a really intense set of rules to try to keep the actors and everybody safe.
Right. Yeah, same thing. I mean, I have a little studio in the house. It's literally in a closet. And the second half of my work
You got to get a husband to build you a studio. That's what I did.
I do need a husband to build me.
Yeah. I can send mine down there. I'm sure he could take care of a studio.
That's a power move.
I have this, a very modest little studio, but it did the job. And Microsoft we had to make some technical changes so that what I did pre-pandemic would sound the same as what I did post-pandemic. So there was, microphones and
They sent us mics, Madonna mics.
yeah, and a preamp and stuff like that too. So it would try to match. And I defy anybody to, and I wouldn't even be able to tell you what was done in a multi-million-dollar studio in Seattle and what was done in my closet. So I couldn't possibly. So that's a credit to the engineers. And like Jen said, the pandemic, as it did on a lot of things, forced changes that, in my opinion, were coming already. And now, it's not it's not uncommon to do any kind of voice work from your home studio if you have a halfway decent setup. It's unfortunate, though, to a certain degree, and I miss the days of going into the studio and being
Talking to people and seeing humans.
Being flesh and blood, and having that interaction. I miss it, and I hope that when the time comes to do more stuff for Halo, that we'll still be able to, I can still come out to Seattle and work in the studio and see the director and the writers and see Jen and have that experience.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Is anybody wearing any Halo cosplay or merch or anything? Can you please stand real fast? Woot woot. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you have a great con. Let's give a round of applause for our guests, right?
Thank you. And if you didn't get a chance to get your question asked or whatever, Jen and I will be back at our little autograph table till 7-ish.
I don't think so. I think he's
will.
lying. I don't know that we're doing that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
And we're going to be here all
We'll
day
be here
tomorrow.
tomorrow too.
Yeah.
All day tomorrow.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.